Good morning, 你好. Welcome to Blockchain and Lindy Chen channel. My name is Lindy Chen. I'm very excited to be here and share my insight about blockchain with you. In the last video, I shared with you modifying a smart contract behavior by interacting with oracles. In this video, I will share with you identify use for off-chain services. Let's first discuss how to extend smart contract with off-chain logic. We will consider two ways to support smart contract with logic from outside the usual boundary of the blockchain, while still retaining the trust and transparency that defines a blockchain network. Why would we want to go off-chain? There may be requirement in the transaction logic where a smart contract may not have all the data or knowledge required to complete the processing of the transaction. For example, a smart contract may need to obtain volatile information such as the stock price from an external system, or maybe business rules in a transaction are so complex that externalizing them is more appropriate. The challenge is to maintain trust, visibility, and transparency as quality of service for a blockchain network. 1. Extend the operational boundary of a smart contract to a third-party system. In this model, peers in the blockchain network use a third-party service co-located with them. 2. Introduce an oracle that the smart contract can interact with. In this model, the oracle is a trusted third party that answers questions without knowing the full context of the transaction. In fact, privacy and confidentiality are preserved. In both scenarios, the underlying assumption is that the outcome of the interactions is deterministic. If you take the entire history of blocks and replay it locally, you should end up with the same state as every other node. Now, let's look at some uses for off-chain service. Big data. There are increasing number of data sets covering an ever-increasing number of industry sectors, such as smart home and cities, machines and devices, environment, and agriculture, to name some. The Internet of Things is dependent on the availability and merging of rich data sets from multiple systems, organizations, and verticals, so that the transaction logic smart contracts can complete the processing of the transaction. Storage. The amount of data that can be stored locally on-chain is finite in practice within a blockchain. With the growing accumulation of transactional records and other forms of digital assets, it is unrealistic to expect that all of these will be stored on the blockchain within each block, but rather off-chain, identified by hashed addresses of where the actual data resides. Using a proof of access consensus mechanism can also allow for permanent data storage, albeit sited on a different blockchain requiring interoperability between blockchain. However, data is permanent, cost-effective, and truly censorship-free. Private and sensitive data. Trusted computing. Similar to big data, but the focus is on private and sensitive data that needs to be verified or processed without making it visible to all. The use of encryption keys, hash encryption strategies are good examples of a trusted computing approach to accessing off-chain data and information. Hashing systems effectively block hackers from capturing many kinds of data through unauthorized database use. Consider that regardless of whether the blockchain is public, private, or consortium, processing private or sensitive information on-chain would require decryption encryption key to access that information. The smart contract would have to unencrypt the encrypted data on-chain, This requires that decryption key to be sent to the blockchain, which would then make the information visible to all participants inside the transaction. The privacy of the data to be processed would be gone at that moment. Example: consider sensitive data such as a pharmaceutical formula for a new drug that requires approval from the regulatory body. The regulatory body must be able to access the formula to review against regulated substance. With the formula registered as a hash on the blockchain, the regulatory body can use trusted computing to check the complete recipe against the publicly available list of regulated compounds without getting to know the complete secret recipe. If existing regulated substances are inside the new drug, information on them would be visible to the regulatory body and measures are triggered, such as no approval, prescription only, or requirement to keep to certain threshold levels. This approach keeps private data completely off-chain while registering the private data on-chain by storing a hash of it for later verification of its integrity. For myself, the team at China Direct Sourcing, the team at Freezen Technology, and the team at the Blockchain Collective, thank you for watching this video series. If you like what you see and hear and want to know more about it, please subscribe our channel and contact us. Good luck with your blockchain learning journey. Enjoy the program.